and welcome to another episode of Conversations in the Community. I am your host, Dania Parker-Smith. I'm also a real estate agent here in London with New Vista Premier Realty. Today, I'm going to be speaking with Mike Paris from Village Auto Care. He is their customer service manager. Is that right, Mike? Or is it service manager? Yeah. And he's going to share a little bit about his experience working for Village Auto Care with us today. So welcome, Mike.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we have a little bit of glitches here I see going on, but that's a reality of technology.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about Village Auto Care.
Well, we're a small independent two-bay garage. We service all makes and models here in the village. We, primarily service Wortley Village clients, but we do have clients within the city of London. There's four of us that work here, myself as a service manager, David, the owner, Jason, our lead technician, and we have Eric, our apprentice. We've been in business, I should say now, for just over 12 years. We actually took the business over in October of 2008, sorry. It was a family-owned independent garage before. It was called George's Service Center, and when we took over, we renamed it Village Auto Care. So great place to work, great village to work in. I came from the dealership industry, dealership end of our industry. I worked for a Volvo dealership and I worked for Kia previously. And I think the difference here in the independent is that we can develop relationships with our clients. It's a much more personal relationship. And I thoroughly enjoy that. And obviously working here facilitates that and allows us to do that. I live in Mount Bridges myself, so I love that small town feel.
Yeah.
And I certainly get that here in the village. It's kind of a unique area because for the size of London, you typically don't get communities like this within that size of the center. So it's unique and it's a lot of fun to be here. And people are just really cool here.
Once again, today I saw another article come out, just like in January, saying that Wortley Village is once again one of the best neighborhoods in Canada, if I'm not mistaken, maybe North America, to live in.
Yeah.
Like, how great is that?
Yep.
How great is that?
Cool. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So being in the auto industry, obviously you see a lot of different folks.
Yeah.
So what's one of the most unusual requests you've ever had come through your?
Yeah, so that one's interesting. I obviously we hear lots. I mean, it's almost like the barber who gets, all the stories from the clients and stuff.
Yeah.
So I hear lots of different things, but I would say one that specifically stands out to me, I can remember a number of years ago, still working here at Village Auto Care though. I was shuttling a customer home and they had asked if I could just stop somewhere really quickly. So I said, yeah, no problem. Well, they stopped at the bank, came out a few minutes later, and then asked if they could stop somewhere else. Actually went to the grocery store, bought their groceries while I'm out waiting in the shuttle vehicle, and then proceeded to take them home. So I thought that was kind of bold. It was interesting, but it's okay. I mean, it's all part of that, service industry, right? So I think they just saw an opportunity to take care of a couple of things, and they did. So that one stands out. But I mean, there's been other odd things, but I would say that one's probably the strangest, I guess, per se.
Hopefully, at the end of the day, that was something they really, really needed, and that you could give that to them.
And they're still a customer. So
there you go, right?
Clearly, it was worth it. So,
over and above.
Yeah.
And you've been over a little bit about what Wortley Village is, but why do you love it particularly?
The people here, really, really relaxed, laid back atmosphere. Nobody seems to be in a hurry. Everybody talks to everybody. Very family oriented. I mean, there's tons of people walking with their children, walking with their dogs. It's just a fun area to be in. Very diverse, a lot of different backgrounds here. Which is kind of cool. And it just makes me kind of feel like my own home. I've lived in Mount Bridges for 20 years now, and I like small town atmosphere. I just like, there's some negatives to everybody knowing everybody, being in everybody's business and stuff, but it's nice on a security point though, because everybody's paying attention to everybody too. So I like that.
True. Yeah. I grew up in small towns, really small towns.
Yeah, I think I read on your profile, you're from the West Coast.
Yeah, well, not the West Coast, from the Kootenay area. So
Okay.
that's, yeah, a little
Oh,
bit smaller even.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, um, we've had a lot of time to be at home, but you're being an essential service, so you're probably at work a lot more than some other people. But, we've seen a lot of shows that have come out of the woodwork on Netflix, things that people
Yeah.
wouldn't normally watch. Like Schitt's Creek has been one of those things that went absolutely crazy in its very last season, right? Because of Netflix. And that's
Yeah.
so wonderful to hear. But what show have you seen that you really love that's kind of really out there on Netflix during the whole pandemic?
So I think the obvious question would be Tiger King, but I didn't watch it. So,
We watched it.
Yeah. So we, back to what you'd said about essential service. So we were shuttered from mid-March until early May last year. So for that 6.5, almost 7 weeks that I was at home, I'm a big fan of true crime shows. So I actually got into Mindhunter and
Oh yeah.
and watched that,
Yeah.
which absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tend to stay away from the craziness. Or at least I try to. I don't read a lot, or I don't watch a lot of television. I read
Okay.
more, but
Yeah.
I was home with my wife and kids, so we watched Mindhunter, which is kind of
Favorite author?
favorite author. Probably say Timothy Zahn. He does a lot of Star Wars books and
Okay.
stuff. That I would say is one of my favorites. I have a few others. Stephen King is one as well. I love the horror genre. So yeah.
Perfect. So if you could go back 1 year to before COVID,
Yes.
and you would tell yourself what kind of crazy experiences this world would have, what kind of advice would you have to prepare yourself for this last year?
Ooh. That's an interesting question. Have a little bit more patience. I don't know. That's a tough one. That is a really tough. You know what? I think patience. I have two teenage daughters. One that's in first year university, one that's in grade 10 high school, and the challenge that they've dealt with has been challenging for my wife and I. So I think patience is a big one. Understanding that they're dealing with it just as much as we are, if not more, because they don't necessarily have the tools that we do to cope with it. So, and I think just, pressing pause and relaxing and, we'll get through this, right? And it's a hardship and it's a burden and it's, affected people greatly. Some people, I mean, if you're an introvert, I'm sure you're probably loving this, but, extroverts and, A-type people are having a real difficult time, I think. So
it's true. There's been so much stress that way.
Absolutely. So I think just taking a deep breath, relaxing, understanding that we're going to get through this. That's probably what I would tell myself, if I could go back. And yeah, it is what it is, and we've got to adapt and pivot accordingly.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for watching us again. If you would like to have your business featured here on the Park Bench site, or even just as an individual, share your story about living in the community, I would love to connect with you. Please go on our Park Bench site and press the button to be interviewed, and I will connect with you. Thanks again, and tune in next time.